back here on the BS Report WICR. You can listen live on live365.com or you can watch live on ustream.com. John Stanko here with Kevin Bartnett. We just talked about the racism story that has been the front NBA headline for the past couple of days. However, Kevin, as you mentioned in the first segment, it's been putting a shadow over some fantastic basketball that's being played, especially for first round of the playoffs. We've only had one sweep. That was the Heat beating Charlotte in 4 games, which we expected to happen.
Yes, and deuces to the Bobcats' name.
Oh,
They
yes.
would now be the Charlotte Hornets again.
They were 0-8 in the playoffs as the Bobcats, so now they'll go back to the Hornets. So hopefully they'll find more success.
Good for them. They're going in the right direction. So after they've been bad for so long, hopefully this is a step in the right direction. The Hornets name will bring some relevancy, not like relevancy, but like good things back to that franchise and city. So
And please bring back the awesome jerseys.
yes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, New Orleans really didn't do too well with the name or the jerseys.
No, the Pelicans. Anyways, let's get to some NBA basketball. And you mentioned the first segment, you love this Houston-Portland series. It is right now Portland 3-1 over the Rockets. What have you seen in the 4 games that you've just loved so much?
It's just great basketball. You look at the scores. Overtime, 123-120 from Game 4. 121-116. 112-105. And 122-120 overtime in the first game. And even though they won by 7 to 5 points, the games are a lot closer than the games have been a lot closer. These games have just been absolutely incredible. That Sunday game when I watched the Rockets Trailblazers, I tell you, Wesley Matthews became one of my favorite players in the NBA. Tight defense on James Harden. James Harden's having a great series, 30, 28, and 37 points. But he's taking a lot of shots. So Dwight Howard's getting rattled. It seems like LaMarcus Aldridge has proven that he's a bona fide star in this league, and he's been for real for a while. But people are starting to take notice about it. Damian Lillard has played absolutely incredible.
I love Damian Lillard.
It's 3-1.
I love him.
It's 3-1, yes, but the series is so heated. You know what it reminds me of? Even though I wasn't really fully functional then, it seems like when I watch highlights of like the Knicks Pacers back in the 90s, this series.
Really?
Like a Knicks Pacers series in the 90s. Or a Knicks Heat in the early 90s.
Was that when Reggie Miller knocked down 9 points in whatever seconds?
8 points in 9 seconds.
8 points in 9 seconds to clutch. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I want to tell you what really points out to me in this game is LaMarcus Aldridge is having a playoff series like no one else has ever had before. He's setting records. He's playing unbelievable.
He had 41 and 16 in the first game, I believe.
He had 94 points in the first, or 84 points in the first 2 games, I think it was.
Yeah.
Just insane.
And this is with Dwight Howard guarding.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's remarkable.
And Dwight Howard, if you don't realize, is a 3-time NBA Defender of the Year.
So I want to say LaMarcus Aldridge, you're playing phenomenal. Damian Lillard is one of my favorite players in the NBA. Just his style, his game is it's infectious to watch.
This Portland team is just incredibly likable all around.
They're likable all around. I do want to say something that's intrigued me is the slack that James Harden is getting for his defense. It was known throughout the regular season that he wasn't a very good defender. He would let the people get by him, try and do that swipe steal, which everyone has pictures of now throughout this series. But I think this is the first time he's really getting a lot of slack for not performing that well on the defensive end. Even though it's not his forte, people are saying he's just not putting effort in there.
With it, he hasn't really. He's not on Lillard. He's not guarding Lillard. He's been guarding Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews is not a scorer.
No,
he's a great presence though. And that's what I've loved him. And he's played tight defense this whole series. That's why I've become such a fan of him. But Harden, he's done this all year. But the thing was, he can get away with it because he's Dwight Howard playing right behind him.
Exactly.
Dwight Howard and
one of the best shot blockers in the NBA.
And Omir Sheik, who's one of the best rebounders in the league. So when they're both on the court together, especially, he can get away with it. This series, he can't get away with it, though, because they have LaMarcus Aldridge, one of the best scoring big men in the league. He's proven he might be a top 3 scoring big man in the league now, LaMarcus Aldridge. So he can't get away with it this series, and it's shown. They're down 3-1 now. Yeah. He's got to step up big time.
Portland, their last NBA championship came in 1977. Not saying they're going to win one this year, but I'm saying they're looking good in this first series.
They're looking really good.
They're looking really good. I think they're going to beat Houston next game out and just move forward.
I think Houston's winning one more. They are at home. I believe they are at home. Houston's going to take. I would love to, because even though it's 3-1, I've loved this series so far. Every game has been so heated and in your face. It just reminds me of old school basketball, which I love. So.
It's been a great series, but I do think Portland just takes care of business and moves forward.
Right.
I do think so. Well, let's get to another very intriguing series that I think. Let's move to the Eastern Conference. Another one that I think is surprising a lot of people, but some people aren't too surprised, frankly, is the Atlanta Hawks against the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers had a phenomenal first half of the season. They fell apart in the second half.
Roy Hibbert.
Somehow they got the first seed. Roy Hibbert has disappeared. 0 points, 0 rebounds in 12 minutes last game in an Indiana loss. I mean, what has happened to this Pacers team? The Hawks are up 3-2 with a chance to upset the number 1 seed. Kevin, what has happened to the Pacers?
I'm gonna say this right now on the record, especially. I don't think this is Frank Vogel's fault at all.
I agree with you.
And you know what? I
agree with you.
I think this team has gotten too cocky too fast. They got too cocky at the beginning of the year. I mean, put it this way: LeBron James, in the early parts of his career, when he took his team to the third round, and this is about his third or fourth year, he took his team to the NBA Finals, and he was getting slack for not doing anything. So you got to hold people the same standards. This team has done nothing if you want to play it by that standards. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They lost to Miami in 7. They made it, and that's the farthest they made it since I believe 2000 when they made it to the Eastern. They made it to the NBA Finals because I remember they beat the Knicks 2000. So if you want to hold people say if you want to hold them to good player standards, they've done nothing. If you want if we're being honest here, if this was a Lakers team who last year the Lakers, they got a lot of slack for doing nothing.
Yeah.
So this team has accomplished nothing yet. I think they got too cocky too fast, and then they haven't really been playing as a team like that. I don't think this is Vogel's fault, though, whatsoever. He's going to get the heat, though. I mean, if they lose to Atlanta, he's going to get the heat. But I want to say something about Atlanta. They've done this before. If you remember against the Boston Celtics in 2008, they took them to 7 games.
They took them to 7 games, yes, you're right.
And then the Celtics won the whole thing.
You're right,
so
yes.
then Indiana maybe can turn this around if they could win this and then get to the next round. But then if Indiana does win, they play Washington of Chicago. And might I tell you, John Wall might be the player who's might be the breakout star of the NBA.
Him or LaMarcus Aldridge, who was already established but having a record-breaking postseason.
But Wall has truly elevated justified why he was the number 1 pick. So.
Yes, Wall has lifted up this Wizards team to a competitive team
with
how
good he's playing, the next series won't be a cakewalk, clearly, and then you probably got to deal with Miami, but
took care of business against Charlotte.
Yes,
per usual.
And then but Atlanta and Indiana, if Atlanta wins, man.
Does Frank Vogel ever get fired? This is not whether you think he should or not. Does he?
Absolutely.
You think he gets fired?
And I think Principal he'll get a job. He'll get another job.
That's what I think. If he does get fired, he'll be hired right away somewhere else. He will
get another job. As much as I don't think this is his fault, I think it's weird. It's a tough decision for Larry Bird and Donnie Walsh, but
I want to ask you this: do you think Larry Bird deserves some slack trading away Danny Granger, who was the glue of that clubhouse? And I mean, ever since that trade, the team hasn't been the same. Do you think Larry Bird is getting enough criticism for that move?
See, Danny Granger wasn't really doing much this year to begin with, so
I agree with you. On the court, statistics wise, as I can say that word well, he wasn't doing much. But in the clubhouse, tangible wise,
yeah.
This is the leadership. Everyone knew he was the glue of that clubhouse. Yet Larry Bird traded him anyway. I am one of the few that I think that Frank Vogel, he doesn't deserve to be fired. He will be, but I think Larry Bird has to get a bit more slack for what he's done with this team in the second half of the season. I'm not saying all the blame goes on him, because if you have a superstar like Paul George, he should be strong enough to lead a team. Roy Hibbert should not be shooting 20% in the paint or 20% from the field over the past 9 games, and 18% from in the paint the past 9 games. That's not Larry Bird's fault. But I think Larry Bird does deserve more blame than he's already getting.
Absolutely, I think Bird will keep his job. I mean,
Bird's gonna keep his job.
When I think when a team's not performing, I think especially the general manager or president of basketball operations, because I know Walsh is involved. Donnie Walsh is involved. I think is the president. Bird might be the GM. I'm not sure which is which, but their job is to put the team together. They got the pieces aligned. They got the personnel. They're the number 1 seed. So now it's Vogel. They're gonna say it's Vogel's job to coach the team. So he's gonna get the heat. He's gonna get the heat, and he'll get the axe. I firmly believe. But Roy Hibbert should not be shooting 20%. Paul Millsap, not known for his defense. So
yeah,
I mean, these guys are not playing well. And
do you sit Roy Hibbert?
Do I sit him? No, you can't.
No,
I don't sit him.
You do not sit him.
I don't sit him.
Just looking at the Indiana Pacers box score from last game, in their loss to Atlanta, they lost 107-97. You look at Roy Hibbert; he played 12 minutes. 0 points, 0 rebounds. As I mentioned, he had an assist. He knew an 0 for 2 from the floor. You look at the people who may have taken his place. You got Luis Scola. He played 8 minutes, but he was minus 16 on the court during that 8 minutes in a point situation. Someone who played fantastic off the bench, had a plus 17 in terms of like a hockey thing, like with point when he was on the floor.
Yeah.
Chris Copeland, small forward, was plus 17 when he was on the floor.
Chris Copeland was a member of the Knicks last year. He's about 6'10", 6'11", so he's a big guy.
Yeah,
Chris Copeland's a very good.
They list him as a small forward on the ESPN website on the roster, but he was plus 17. I think you gotta look if you're Frank Vogel. Listen, you're that much better with Copeland on the floor compared to Hibbert. Why not take a shot? You've looked at every other chance or twinkle that you could do to make this team better, and they haven't figured it out. Why not start Copeland?
I don't. I'm see because like I've seen Copeland play because he was a member of the Knicks last year, and like he became a key member. No, so Copeland's a great offensive player. Great offensive player. He really is. I remember like last year, and like he had like 4 20-point games. He got limited minutes. He was a terrible defender though.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is this: the Roy Hibbert is a very good defensive player. I'm not denying it. He is. But his defense is not the style that you need with Atlanta. Atlanta spreads you out, and they're going to shoot the three. They don't really have a down-low scoring presence where Hibbert dominates in the paint defensively. His defensive style is not made for Atlanta. You think Copeland's a little bit more athleticism. Great, he's not a good defender, but he's probably better on the outside than Hibbert is if, say, someone tries to draw Hibbert out of the paint.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you give it a chance. The thing is, maybe a little too late because it'd be very risky. Maybe a little too late. You're already down 3-2. If it doesn't work, you lose the series.
Yes, and then people are gonna. Why did you change this during an elimination game? Why'd you do this adjustment? I could see your point.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's move on to another series before we take a break. Let's move on to the San Antonio-Dallas series, where it is knotted up at 2. The Spurs got the winning game 4 to knot the series up 93-89, having to survive a furious Mavericks comeback in the fourth quarter. They were able to hang on and get it. It's been a great series between two Texas teams. For me, Game 3 of this series, where Vince Carter hit that shot, was the best game of the playoffs thus far. This has been a great series.
It was my second best because I like the
Game 4. Game 4 of Portland Houston. You liked.
Yes, but I think with Simmons, I'm not sorry, Simmons. Sorry, I just got an update. Wayne Simmons scored for the Flyers, now 2-0.
I picked the Flyers in 7. This looks good.
Yeah, so my bad. I got Simmons. No, but with Dallas, excuse me. I'm surprised at how well they're playing. To be honest, I thought that they were like they were just a bunch of kind of like not washed up veterans. We had Carter, Sean Marion, but they've shown great chemistry. Rick Carlisle deserves a lot of credit for how well they're performing. Dirk Nowitzki's still Dirk. Monte Ellis has played very well this series. I'm very impressed with him. I was never really a fan of him. I always thought he was shot too much, but he just stats said he was a good scorer, but he just shot the ball too much. But Monte Ellis has been a real team player this series. The San Antonio Spurs are just unbelievable. How good they still are, and like how they can get the best out of guys like Boris Diaw hits the game-winning shot. Boris Diaw, like that's a washed-up veteran.
You can never count anyone out.
When they're on the San, like when you're on the Spurs, you're on the Spurs for a reason because you could clearly Greg Popovich believes in you. So with that, I'll say I still think San Antonio wins the series. I think they won it last night.
You think they won it last night?
Going back to San Antonio, I think Dallas took one there. But I think San Antonio, they win Game 5, and then they're just going to be proved to be too much in Game 6. This is a great series, though, so far. I mean, I can't lie. I mean, I'm rooting for Dallas. I am rooting for Dallas because, I like to see the underdog win, This team does kind of remind me of the championship team. They had a lot of old veterans, yet they're playing really hard. They're playing a superior team really well right now.
Yeah. On ESPN, none of the analysts picked Dallas to win it. The majority picked the Spurs in 5. The fact of the matter is, I could see this game going 7 games, which each team winning on their home court. I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Spurs will take Game 5, Dallas will take Game 6, and then Spurs will take Game 7.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I think.
If San Antonio takes Game 5, I think if Dallas takes Game 5, it actually is going to go 7. I think San Antonio takes Game 5 and going to win. I think San Antonio is winning, though. I think they are the better basketball team.
All right. You know what? Let's quickly recap the other. Let's quickly look at the other series, if you will, before we take a break. Let's predict who's going to win those series. Why not? A little bit of prediction wise. I'm assuming we all had the Heat.
Yes.
I'm assuming I'm gonna go on record saying I had Indiana in 6.
I had Indiana in 6 as well.
Okay, so we both agree on that.
They have to win in 7 now.
The Brooklyn versus Toronto. Who did you have at the start of that series?
I had Brooklyn in 6.
Okay, I had Brooklyn in 5, so I'm on the schneid there.
I had Brooklyn in 6. That's another good series, but like that game 4 was oh man, I was losing brain cells over that game. I mean, really, like those guys couldn't hit a shot to save their lives. It seemed like so, neither team. But I'll tell you right now, Jonas Valanciunas is going to be a star in this league for Toronto. The big center, Jonas Valanciunas can play.
All I'm going to say is Paul Pierce can still play.
Oh, the truth, yeah, I know.
The truth rings true. All right, moving on. Last one in the East, Washington, Chicago. I had Chicago in 7 at the start of this. They're going to need a mountain to climb. They could still do it because I believe in Tom Thibodeau. I believe in him as a coach. He can have the Bulls win 3 games. But Washington's playing really good, up 3-1.
I actually had Chicago in 5, so I'm already on the schneid there. I was on the schneid after last game when Washington won 2. But no, John Wall's just been too much this series. He's playing unreal in these playoffs. And this is the John Wall we all thought we were going to see when he was taken number 1 overall.
And he's finally blossoming into it.
Yeah. And he's living up to that contract. They threw him a lot of money, and they were kind of criticized for it.
Yeah.
They were saying good to lock him up, but like that's a lot of money to commit to him. Now it looks like they got a steal. They gave him, I believe, 5 years, $80 million. Which if you're after this series, Wall's a max player.
Yeah,
Wall would have gotten a max contract,
but
somewhere else. But now it's like they got a steal.
Exactly. Moving to the West, the one we haven't explored yet. Memphis versus OKC. Memphis has Tony Allen's really hurt Kevin Durant in his scoring with that phenomenal defense of his. The series is knotted up at 2. I had Oklahoma City in 6 at the start of the playoffs. I still believe in that. Kevin, what do you got?
I had Oklahoma City in 7, actually.
Okay.
Memphis just knows how to play Oklahoma City.
They do.
I remember even a couple years ago, when Memphis was the 8 seed, they took them to 7 games after they knocked off San Antonio in the first round. So Memphis knows how to play OKC. That's never been an issue. Tony Allen, for his whole career, since his Celtics days, has been one of the best defenders. If not, might be.
I think he is the
best ball on ball defender.
The best ball on ball defender in the NBA.
He may be the best ball on ball defender in the NBA. He's absolutely incredible, and he's about like 7 inches smaller than Kevin Durant.
That's what amazes me. Kevin Durant, his release is so high, no one can block his shot. Yet somehow Tony Allen's finding ways to alter Kevin Durant's vision, looking at the basket and everything like that. It's incredible.
He's frustrated.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is where last year, they say they missed Russell Westbrook. He's got Russell Westbrook this year, but I just don't think the team is as good. I just don't think the team is as good as they were last year. Because they didn't have Kevin Martin coming off the bench. Kevin Martin was a great secondary scorer. Yeah, Reggie Jackson's been doing that, but at the same time, they had Reggie Jackson and Kevin Martin. Kevin Martin was a big loss for them.
They had more depth last year than they have this year.
Yes, so.
All right. Last one in the West before we take a break. Golden State versus the Los Angeles Clippers, now surrounded by this whole entire story. It seemed to distract them in Game 4 as the series is now knotted up 2 games apiece as it heads back to L.A. tonight. Who did you have winning this series, and who do you have winning it now?
I had Golden State in 6, and I'm going to say it's Golden State.
You're still going to stay with Golden State in 6?
Yeah, because you know what? I thought Golden State would have been I picked Golden State at the beginning of the year as my breakout team of the NBA, because I love that Andre Iguodala signing. Then that gave him depth. Harrison Barnes then could move to the bench, be the 6th man.
And Steph Curry's awesome.
And Steph Curry is shooting lights. Awesome. Is always shooting lights out. Him and Klay Thompson. I forgot their nickname, but it suits them well. It seems like.
I don't remember. I don't know their nickname.
Some of the Flyers, of course, they're called something like that. So. But no, I think that. Look, Andrew Bogut obviously not being there doesn't help them a lot. DeAndre Jordan's having a good series, but I still think that they're just Clippers. Now I really think Golden State's win 6 Clippers. I don't know if they're going to emotionally be there.
See, that's where I disagree with you. I think that with this whole thing now behind them and they know that Sterling is gone, I think this is going to galvanize this team, not distract them like in Game 4, and I think they're going to really play that good, healthy, selfish way where they're going to play for themselves and their team, and I think they're going to win the next 2 games.
If Curry and Thompson shoot the way they shot last game, there's no way they win this series.
I agree with you, but I think the Clippers will find a way to stop them. Originally, I had Clippers in 7. I'm going to say that, but I think they're going to win the next 2 games. I think they're going to win in 6
really?
now.
Yeah, the thing is, people say they can blame what happened with Donald Sterling as a distraction, but we can't take away how good Golden State played last game. Golden State played phenomenal last game. I didn't watch it all, but I watched a good amount. Golden State was shooting lights out.
Yeah, Golden State still plays good basketball, despite the whole thing saying Mark Jackson had lost some of the team and stuff like that and everything. So give credit to them because they're still playing well in the playoffs. And listen, with the way they shoot the 3-point ball, they can be dangerous for anyone if they get hot from beyond the arc in a series.
Yes.
Because if you trade 3-for-2s all game long, the 3's going to eventually win out.
I like the balance that they have, though, especially because you got one of the best scorers down low in David Lee, and then only that, you got Andre Iguodala who could score from all over the floor. So you got good scoring depth. Harrison Barnes, a good defender. So that's the thing that I maybe with. They're not the best defensive team, so that's the one thing. That's where they really miss Andrew Bogut.
Yeah.
So, just away from the playoffs, though, just I want to ask you, though, want to get your thoughts on Steve Kerr. Has been rumored to be close with the Knicks. I personally, as a Knicks fan, wouldn't really be a fan of the move.
Really? You are the first person I know who wouldn't be a fan of it.
I really wouldn't be a fan of the move. No coaching experience. I don't think this helps with it. Because, look, I mean, I was all for it at the beginning of the year, maybe saying that we trade Melo, but that's not like he's still a great scorer, and he had a great season this year.
Melo,
But maybe there's parts of me say, if he leaves, it may not be the worst thing because the guy is not a winner.
No.
He's not a winner.
You can't build a franchise around him, even though he's so good.
He's not a winner.
It's proven that you can't.
At the same time, though, I think he can attract free agents, though. When the Knicks have some cap space in the next year, going into 2015, where LaMarcus Aldridge, I think, will be a free agent.
And LeBron, I believe.
LeBron could opt out this year. He's not sure. I think LeBron's going to stay in Miami, though, no matter what. He's married now, so I think he's just going to end his career there. But I think with LaMarcus, with guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and Durant and Kevin Love, Durant signed a 5-year contract about 2 years ago.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
I'm wrong.
5 years.
Maybe it was Kevin Love. Maybe I'm thinking a different Kevin.
Kevin Love.
I'm thinking a different Kevin. My apologies.
So I wouldn't be a fan of the move, though. I mean, I do believe in what Phil Jackson does, though. He's far more superior than any of the Knicks they've had recently than Donnie Walsh. So I am a believer in Phil. So it looks like it's going to be Kerr. Although I would look for a more proven head coach.
I think the only reason I'll disagree is because I love Steve Kerr on the broadcasting side. He's one of my favorite NBA broadcasters.
He was a good GM. He was a good GM when he was in Phoenix. He essentially got fired. Not got fired, but he left on mutual things because he let D'Antoni go. Which, I mean, granted, after D'Antoni left, they weren't the same team. But with the way D'Antoni's been coaching lately,
anywhere else, yeah, exactly.
With the way D'Antoni's been coaching in the league, it doesn't look like it's been a bad move. But that franchise hasn't been the same. They had a great year this year, though. So, but. Once D'Antoni left the Suns, they weren't the same. So
we'll see what happens there with Steve Kerr. He has to reportedly to have a deal settled by the end of the first round of the playoffs. That's what the report said. We'll see what the first round of the playoffs brings. Some couple interesting games tonight. I'm really looking forward to that Golden State Los Angeles Clippers game. How will that crowd respond? I'm really excited to see it. We're going to take a short break here on WYCR, the BS Report. John Seiko and Kevin Barnett. We'll be right back right after this. Talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. We got now a numerous amount of games underneath our belt. Are you worried about your New York Mets? Am I worried about my Red Sox? I'll give you a little tease. Yes, I am.
I'll give you a little tease. No, I'm not.
We'll be back right after this.
WICR presents another great New York